UFC 209 just wrapped up, and wow, that was a crazy card. Um, Main event was great. Co-main was great. MVP versus Kevin Holland fight that I did not expect to go the way it did. Madalena coming back from a broken arm and KOing Gilbert and Peter Yan back in the win column. That was pretty good. Also, Francis Ngannou getting knocked out. Now, I did not see that coming. Almost beat Fury and got knocked out, but we'll get onto that later. So pretty much, I'm just gonna talk about the UFC, give my comments on it, who I think people should fight next, and yeah, got some Rainbow Six in the background because I don't know how to edit or like any of that stuff yet with the UFC photos and videos, so I'm gonna get onto that. But yeah, just got me getting an ace with Vera in the background if you play Rainbow. It's kind of clean. Yeah, so pretty much Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera now. Main event went the way I thought it was. I thought that Sean O'Malley was going to win by decision because Marlon is undroppable, but I did not think he would land that many strikes on him. I thought Marlon Vera's defense was a little bit better than that. Sean O'Malley threw 360 strikes and landed 240, so it's a 66% clip. And yeah, Marlon Vera's face was wearing it. He was not enjoying life, I don't think, after that fight. His face would have been sore. I'm seeing all these people go, if there was 10 seconds more, Sean O'Malley was going out. Like, are you stupid? Sean O'Malley was pacing him, and yeah, he got caught with a body shot at the end of the fight, but would Sean O'Malley be trading with Chito 10 seconds to go like that if it wasn't 10 seconds to go? No, he wouldn't be. So all these people talking about that, it's just waffle, like, just straight waffle. That's the best way I can describe it. I just sometimes UFC fans just do my head in with how they think. But yeah, I think Sean O'Malley put on a clinic on Marlon Vera. And is there a need for a trilogy? People are calling for it. I personally just think it's 1-0 with a no contest. That's how I view it. So I don't really think there's a need for a rematch. But I wouldn't be opposed to a rematch and just seeing Cheetos get knocked out, because this time I think he would get knocked out. Because there's no way his chin is going to hold up after that beating. Maybe if he takes a year off, lets himself heal, but that was a big, big beatdown. So next, I want to see Sean O'Malley fight Merab because, one, he does not want the Ilya smoke. There's no way. Ilya's too big for him. He couldn't put away a 135, let alone Ilya, who's a big 145 and hits like a truck. Sean O'Malley does not want that fight, in my opinion. It would be cool to see, but I don't think it's a good fight matchup for Sean yet. Merab is a boring matchup, but is the one that should happen. As it just, yeah, he deserves it, Merab. I think Sean O'Malley would put him out in 2 rounds. If he didn't, I'd see Merab winning that fight just because Sean would be too exhausted. But yeah, I don't know. I think he still deserves it, even though I'd hope that Merab would get knocked out, though, because, man, I do not want to see that guy as champion. He's a little bit funny, but his fighting style sucks. And yeah, Sean O'Malley would probably clip him if Henry Cejudo could. So, but you know, from the first ring of the bell on the 5-minute mark, that Merab will be shooting. For Chito Vera, I would like to see him fight Henry Cejudo or a Rob Font, Peter Yan. Yeah, someone like around his ranking or below him. I don't think he deserves to fight up anymore. I think he got given that title shot pretty luckily because of his previous performance against Sean Ford. And then you have the Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint Denis fight. I could never understand why Dustin Poirier was a $2.90 underdog. I always had him winning that fight. Apparently, Saint Denis came in with a staph infection and was dehydrated, but I feel like, you know, those are excuses. And if he was, well, then you should have put out the fight and you chose to go in there. If he did put up a good effort, but still, yeah. I had Dustin Poirier winning that fight all day. Saint Denis always walks into punches. He's got that tough guy military mentality where he can just do anything, but I feel like Dustin Poirier's power was always too much and striking was too good for Saint Denis. Why Poirier kept jumping guillotines, I will never know. His grappling is underrated, but his grappling IQ is so bad. Like, he survived a good amount of time when he was mounted and when Saint Denis had his back, but the fact he kept jumping guillotines and putting himself in that position when, you know, he wasn't going to get the guillotine off as Saint Denis defense was, too good. And I feel like Saint Denis was putting his head there on purpose just so he'd get the takedown. Because I don't think Saint Denis actually got a takedown without the guillotine. I might be wrong on that, but I can't remember. But I don't think so. And anyone who fights Dustin Poirier now surely will be just training that guillotine defense, even putting yourself in that position to get guillotine, but to get out of it. Like, I feel like that's quite a good, smart play if anyone who fights him again. But his striking's too crisp. You can't trade with that guard. I can't believe Gaethje actually knocked him out, to be honest. Like, he's got some insanely good striking with some good power in those hands. Next, for Dustin, I'd love to see him fight Justin Gaethje for a trilogy, title eliminator. Winner fights Islam. I feel like this 155 division era is coming to an end, but I think you got to honour those two, though. Great fighters for the division, always have been, and the trilogy needs to happen. Really, they both finish each other once, so I reckon that's the fight next for them. And then for Saint Denis, I want to see him maybe fight Matias Gamrot, Arman Sharukian, Rafael Fiziev, so a young gun that is hungry, and also like Saint Denis. I don't want to see him fight someone like Dan Hooker. It's an easy fight that he'll definitely win because of the grappling. I love Dan Hooker, but Dan Hooker's grappling is never going to hold up from Saint Denis. And then we move on to the rest of the main card fights. So MVP versus Kevin Holland. That was a great scrap. I did not see it going that way. I thought Kevin Holland was going to welcome MVP to the UFC with a cold KO, but MVP proved that he's elite. His distance management will have to be one of the best in the UFC. And that was a great fight. Kevin Holland getting trolled on like he normally does was crazy to watch too. It really frustrated him, which I thought was quite funny from MVP. People thought the fight was boring. Personally, I didn't think it was too bad. Thought that MVP fights the way he fights, and Kevin Holland couldn't figure it out. For MVP, I would like to see him fight Gilbert Burns. Yeah, Gilbert Burns is his MVP, actually. I'd like to see that fight. That sounds about fair. And Kevin Holland, I would like to see him fight Vicente Luque or Jeff Neal. Still think he should fight up in the rankings. He welcomed Michael Page, so I think that's fair. It was a good fight, though. I thought it was a good fight, at least. And then we had Jack Della Maddalena versus Gilbert Burns. I thought this fight was fantastic. Jack Della Maddalena with the boxing. I love how he changes the power. Not always throwing hard, but then sometimes throws hard. It must be hard to time. Has a good chin too. He ate that overhand from Gilbert Burns. That was a solid overhand. He swings, man, when he throws that. So he has a chin. And I thought he was honestly going to lose that. Find out later he's a broken arm, but broken arm in the third round. And he's up against the cage, and he does an insane roll to get out. And then as he's getting up, bang, knee to the face, knocks out Gilbert with the follow-up shots. Thought it went for a little bit too long because Gilbert was still on the ground after, even when the fight was being announced the winner, he was still on the ground. So a bit tough, but good knockout by Maddalena. That made his winning streak go to, what, was it 17 or 15? 17. Makes his winning streak go to 17. That's pretty mad. Called out Rakhmonov, which is that is gun. Who calls out Rakhmonov? That is a fight I want to see for the title eliminator. That gained a lot of respect from me. I thought ballsy move. But yeah, what a finish. And for Gilbert Burns, I think he should fight MVP. I think, as I said before, I think it'd be a good fight for him. He'd be higher than MVP in the rankings. Gives MVP a shot into the top 5, so sounds about fair. But Gilbert Burns always just loses as well. I feel like he always is competitive in every fight he has, though. Shemaev, Maddalena, even in the Kamaru Usman knockout, he knocked him down first. So I feel like Gilbert Burns is still gun. I actually met Gilbert Burns in Sydney when I went over to UFC 294, so got to be one of my favourite fighters as well. And then we move on to the final fight on the main card, or the first one. Petr Yan versus Song Yadong. Man, Petr Yan needs to start taking 5-round fights only. Ex-champion, so I'm sure he can just headline fight nights because He does not suit 3-round fights at all. Whoever his coaches are letting him take 3-round fights are delusional. Very silly, but if you want a bet tip, always bet under on the bet odds for Peter Yan on the strikes landed, because he never lands any strikes in the first round. And yeah, once he downloads that data in his head, he goes off, but he wasn't looking good in the first round. I think he's a little bit washed, but then you got to remember it's Peter Yan, so start slow, finish strong. Sung Yadong again loses. I feel like he's going to be one of those fighters who are really elite but always lose to the elite of the elite fighters. So pretty unlucky for him. For Peter Yan, I'd like to see him fight Henry Cejudo next. Yeah, or Marlon Vera. One of those two. And for Song Yadong, I'd like to see a Kyler Phillips rematch. Something I want to see now they're older into their UFC careers, both in the top 15. Yeah, that's what I want to see. I thought Song Yadong looked good. Good takedowns. He's so fast. But yeah, Peter Yan ended up being superior on the night. And we'll just talk about that Francis Ngannou-Joshua fight. Man, how did Tyson Fury not beat Ngannou and get dropped, but AJ comes out and just dismantles him, completely knocked him out. Francis looked lost in there. AJ just showing who the boxer is, and yeah, it wasn't a good night for Francis. That would have lost a lot of his stock. And where does he go for boxing now after getting round 2 knockout, round 3 knockout? Dropped a few times, and he was out cold. I mean, you could envision Ngannou getting dropped, maybe, but knocked out was not even a possibility. But he got knocked out cold, so yeah, that's crazy. Not sure what's next for Ngannou. I think he's fighting in PFL. I wish he was still in the UFC, man, to fight Jones, but it is what it is. That was crazy that he got knocked out. Still, maybe it smells a little bit fishy that Tyson Fury couldn't do anything to him if AJ can knock him out like that. But AJ, I think, was coming off a loss, or had lost recently, and he said he's cleaned his act up now and after losing. But now I'm just going to go through the prelims, top to bottom. Curtis Blades to Jailton Almeida. I mean, Jailton Almeida, he has good hands. He wasn't striking him in the first round. I have no idea what he was doing. He could have won that fight so easily, and he should have, really, because he showed that he was a superior grappler, but he just kept locking their hands, not striking, not engaging in strikes, and really, when he got knocked out on that takedown, he should have just let go of the leg and scruffled out of there. I know that Curtis Blades said he stuffed his stomach into his head, but man, you got to have some urgency, and especially in the heavyweight division, you cannot be taking those punches to the side of the head like that. And it's kind of good to see him get knocked out. I think he's going to come back stronger, and he must learn from that. He can't be so timid in a fight. And for Curtis Blades, that was quite a big knockout for him. I feel like he needed that. I just still can't understand why Jailton didn't move. Being the smaller guy, just seems a bit silly. But so I thought of that fight. Caitlin Chikagian versus Macy Barber. Macy Barber throws hard, but never seems to ever connect clean. Caitlin, she has a different name now, kind of Shimani or something, I can't remember. She, I don't know. I don't like watching her fight. She's not very entertaining. Just seems like she never puts any effort into her strikes, and she always, like DC said, I think, screams before she tries to hit her. It makes no sense and very telegraphed. I don't really like watching her fight. She just puts no effort into her punches. If she put a little bit extra into it, I feel like she'll do a lot better. Batas Gamrot versus Rafael Dos Anjos. Again, I was very surprised when Dos Anjos knocked down Gamrot, but Gamrot just... I actually do like grappling. I really do like grappling, but that was just, man, come on, dude. Kyler Phillips, he looks like the real deal. Fine-tuned his striking, had the cardio even to go how far he went. Again, another iron chin of Pedro Munoz, so not surprised he didn't get knocked, but great performance by him. And then early prelims, Kudalaba looked better, but he's never going to be anything in the UFC, nor with Lins. Lins probably could have finished him, but then he gassed out. That was interesting. Michael Pereira looking like a beast at middleweight after going up 2 round 1 finishes in a row, so that's pretty interesting. Despain, this guy, man, 18-second knockout. What was it, combined of like 21 seconds in his last three before that, so 39 seconds in 4 fights. Honestly, I reckon just give him a few more tin cans, plumbers, builders, big boys you find off the street. Nah, seriously though, give him some low-ranked people and let him cook for a bit, let him get the feel. I think he's quite old though. I don't know how old. I think he's older, so he needs to stay active but have a few fights this year, and then maybe next year start to look in the rankings. He looks like he could be like that knockout, walking backwards and just pop. So clean, so tall, and he's got the longest reach in the UFC ever, so that has to play his part. And he's a champion in like karate or taekwondo or something like that. Other fights I didn't actually watch, didn't tune into them because I just didn't interest me. So that was my recap on the card. I thought it was quite a good card. Give it like an 8, 7.5 actually. A lot of grappling, but no urgency. But main card saved it with the last 3 fights especially. Yeah, that was my recap on UFC 299, and I'll see you back for UFC Fight Night Tuivasa versus Tobara. Scaly.